All right, it's Kyle T. Mosley of HBCU Legends on Sports Illustrated. And we have a legend in the house, y'all. And we're about to kick off the HBCU football season for 2024. It's none other than Jay Walker. How you doing, Jay?
Hey, I'm excited. It's that time of year, so obviously being a football guy, my blood's stirring a little bit. I'm trying to stay calm down before the broadcast, but I'm excited for this upcoming football season.
Yeah, look, you guys, you and Tiffany will be in the booth once more, man. How many years has it been for you guys so far?
Me and her together, too many. Too many. Too many. That's like my sister there. We can complete each other's sentences, know each other's thoughts. But I want to say it's like we're going on like this may be our fifth or sixth year. I'm gonna guess six probably
Wow.
together, and it's been a great run. She's really taking it on, as we like to say. I call her the queen of HBCU football. She's got that following, and she loves HBCUs, and she's all things FAMU like always.
It's so funny because when she and I spoke a few weeks ago, she talked about the brother sister relationship that you guys have and how well you guys just mesh together. And I thought, hey, will you guys go to blows during that celebration bowl? But you guys kept it together, man. Well,
Yeah,
look,
it's always professional.
you are always
I'll,
professional, and you guys
I'll
do a
just say,
first class job.
and that's the thing about like for a game like that, that's where I tell people kind of know what I'm gonna do. I played football there. I'm gonna call the X's and O's. I said, Tiff, you went to school for this, so it's your job to keep us on the right track. I went to school to get a great degree from Howard University, America's HBCU, and play some football. She went to school for this, so I think that's what shows up. That's what really carries us through it all. The fact that she loves that J school down there in Tallahassee, and it shows, and they should be proud of her.
Yeah, definitely proud of her. I'm proud of both of you guys and what you guys do. I look up to you, and I really respect the work that you guys have been putting down all of these years, especially together. Um, let's talk about this, man. We got to kick off the season, and you guys are kicking off the season with the 2024 MEAC SWAC Challenge. Norfolk State versus the reigning champions from FAMU. How do you see this game?
Closer than people believe. I think when it came out and we said, wow, Norfolk State is 3-8. How are they going to compete with Florida A&M, who won the HBCU national championship last year? Only lost one game on the season. But then when you get closer to it and you dig into the weeds, I think Florida A&M comes in here, and if they think they're going to walk over the Spartans, they got a new thing coming to them. Although Norfolk State was 3-8 a season ago, in like 6 of those losses, they were within a touchdown, and they returned like 18 out of 21 starters on offense. They returned like the two deep, I should say. So they've got a lot of experience. So this is Dawson Odom's best team for State. I mean, they're experienced. All these guys are coming back. They've had a couple more transfers to the portal, like everybody's doing now to help their team improve. But the fact is, I was surprised. I mean, they're competitive. Like we called a game when they got beat by Howard last year. And Howard made it to the Celebration Bowl, and they almost ruined Howard's homecoming. I mean, they were right there in that thing. So this team right now, they feel like they've done the work in the offseason to get over the edge, to get over the hump. Florida A&M, it's always something with family, right? It's always something. So think about all the things that have happened since they won the championship. I mean, Willie Simmons left as a coach. They've replaced an administrator. They replaced another administrator. They got to replace the quarterback who had been there for a long time. But I will say this about FAM. Although I tease them that it's always something with FAMU, they always find a way to try and make it work. And they've got new pieces all over the board. They got great offensive line. They've got good D-line. But we got to see about the quarterback play. I mean, they leaned on Jeremy Musa a lot. The play calling for Willie Simmons was big. So Posey, the third head coach, he's got to earn his stripes a little bit. He was the one guy they kept to kind of keep things going in the right direction. But they've got a lot of – any other school I would call it turmoil. But I'm just going to say it's just they got a lot of FAMU going on. They got a lot of FAMU going on. But they find a way to make it.
It's the normal FAMU chaos, right? They had compliance issues one year. They did very well. They had all the rap video. last year at the beginning of the season, and now this season losing 80 sites is one thing that they have to deal with as well. But let's go and talk about the quarterbacks, a position you know very well, my friend, and you know it so well. But Odoms has to start the season without Coombs, and we have Daniel Richardson starting for Florida A&M. He looks very good. Look, he has 4 seasons under his belt, and he's done pretty good from Central Michigan to FAU. Talk about the quarterbacks and what to expect.
I think the biggest shocker of them is the fact that Richardson went down there and got that job at Florida A&M. I mean, everybody knows that, Junior had paid his dues, the backup for Florida A&M. He had been there for a while, paying his dues. Everybody just knew he was a shoo-in to get the starting job. And they just announced that he would not be the starter. How's that going to hold up in the locker room? And I'll say, you can come from Central Michigan, you can come from Florida Atlantic and think, okay, I'm better than these guys. Well, no, HBCU football is its own variety. It's its own culture. It's its own playmaking ability you have to have. Your offensive line may not be as good as you thought it was at the other school you came from. How do you adapt? How do you manage those expectations without embarrassing guys on the line, without getting yourself hurt out there? He has a lot to learn that way. It's not easy. You can't just plug and play. You can't just come in there. Oh, he's a transfer. He came from an FBS program. He's going to come in here and we're just going to dominate. No. You're going to go through some growing pains, period. Some point.
Right.
In this game right here on national TV, does he go out there and try and do too much? Does he try and prove, oh, I'm this guy? How does the play calling go along with it? So that was the biggest surprise to me. Otto Coombs, I think that was Dawson Jones. When you talk to him, they knew that he was in some academic trouble going into the summer. So they went out there and had to get a replacement. And they like the junior college kid that's coming in there. They really do like him. They rave about him. But both schools love your quarterback when they haven't lost a football game for you. Now, when you start winning, they'll love you even more. But if you start losing, they'll start questioning, oh, we can't wait. And then you got Junior Murtaugh who's sitting there waiting to FAMU, waiting for the guy to start. So I would not be surprised if we saw 3 quarterbacks in this game. I mean, you're
really?
definitely going to see. I think you're definitely going to see 2 from FAMU. I think both those guys have deserved to play, and I think for Norfolk State, even if Coons was healthy, I saw healthy. If he'd have been eligible, you would see 2 quarterbacks for Norfolk State as well. So they'll nail down this quarterback position. Both of them had close ones, and they can go either way. So I expect quarterbacks in this game. We'll see how that plays out. That'll be interesting.
Okay. Interesting take on that. But like you said, it's the first game of the season. There's a lot of bugs that you're going to face. A lot of things you got to iron out as an offense, especially when it comes to these first games, even in the National Football League. That's why defenses usually have a better run at it those first several games of the season. When you look at the landscape of HBCU football right now, would you say it's very much a parity-oriented type of situation going into 2024?
I think I'm not going to say it's parity. I'm going to say that it's some unknowns out there. I think, in the MEAC, I think, MEAC, you talk about the 2-team race, until somebody proves different, South, you're talking about North Carolina Central and you're talking about Howard, but both of them got to replace quarterbacks. They're really good teams, but they got to replace quarterbacks that played for a long time. Some legendary quarterbacks, you can make that argument there. But I think those 2 teams are kind of cream of the crop. In the SWAC, I'm going to say because of Musa not being there, because, Jackson State's got to get a new quarterback in there. There's no stability at the quarterback position. You say there's parity, but, I think the upper echelon teams are still there. I still think it's Florida A&M. I still think it's Jackson State, and then Alabama A&M, Alabama State, because they have a quarterback. Now people have expectations from him. But if they'd have a quarterback coming in to change it up in the same offense as last year, that you wouldn't predict them to win the East. So because they do have a quarterback, they creep into that pot. But I still think there's the haves and the have-nots. And in the West, I mean, that's the Wild Wild West. I mean, all corners are yet to show up there. As we said, they're yet to show up. Everybody thought when they went from the East to the West, oh, that West is going to be something. They have not busted a grape yet. They're going to try. This year they got expectations. Southern, the turnover there. Grambling, the turnover that's there. Prairie View A&M, that's the one I think everybody's a little shocked at. Like, they're not getting the respect they deserve, considering they went to the SWAC championship game last season, and then you pick Alcorn to beat them. So that's there. So I'll say I get when you say parity, but I still think that the haves and the have-nots, and a lot of it depends on if you have you a quarterback or not.
That's right. Look, I'm here in Houston. I cover Texas Southern as well as PV directly. I just went to visit those guys at Prairie View. The players emphasize more than Coach Bubba McDowell. We're being overlooked. And I think there's a lot on the plate at PV at this time, especially that defense. They look real good. I'm just saying, in my opinion.
Could there be a bigger contrast, and this is the football guy in me, between Prairie View and Texas Southern, right? Texas Southern, all they want to do is score points. Couldn't stop nobody. Couldn't stop anybody on defense, but they can score with everybody. Prairie View, they struggle to score, but they can play defense with everybody. That's Bubba McDowell. So now the question is coming in with the new coach at Texas Southern, he's a defensive guy. I don't think you automatically just say, hey, the defense is going to be a lot better, because they could not stop anybody. They'll be improved, but if I'm Texas Southern, I want to keep that offense going. That offense, can't blame anything on that offense. If they didn't do anything else, they could score some points on you. They just couldn't stop nobody. So that could be a sleeper, and we'll find out, week one with those folks right there when they take on each other in the rivalry game there.
Yeah, definitely. The 39th Labor Day Classic will kick off at PV this year. And talking about what's happening over at Chris Dishman's house, his new turf, and he's doing a pretty good job. He has a couple of guys who are preseason All-Americans out there, like young Jacob Williams, who's the linebacker, and he's done a very fine job his career at Texas Southern. All right.
Let me say this. Texas Southern, they're starting to become it's always something at Texas Southern. They're starting to get there. I haven't put that label on them yet. FAMU owns that, but it's always something at Texas Southern right now. They need to put something together. And I'm hoping, Coach Dishman does the job. But they're on the list. I'm giving you the warning. It's too often there's something going on at Texas Southern. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, you can't have no drama if it's not HBCU, babe. You know that.
No. Don't try that. No. There's always. I just gave you two schools. There's always something with them schools. It's always so. They need to work it out.
I think Chris Dishman is doing a very good job. He has a lot of NFL guys, like Kimball Anders is his running back coach, and he has put into place a better organized system from the practices I've seen thus far. So I think they're on the right track. They still haven't named a quarterback. As well as Prairie View, I spoke to Coach McDowell. He still is refraining from naming his quarterback, but they have a couple of guys in mind on both sides. Close contests. How do you feel about that, Jay? Going into the season, we're like a week away, and no quarterback has been officially been named.
That is the way of college football. It doesn't surprise me too much. I mean, we used to have a saying, well, if you got two quarterbacks, you got zero quarterbacks.
Zero, right.
But now that's changed. Yeah. Now schools kind of feel comfortable with two quarterbacks. They don't think a guy can make it through the whole season. So more and more, just like I said, the game we've got down here, we're going to see two quarterbacks play for Florida A&M. So you can, Norfolk State, you may see two as well. They got a freshman they like. So if kids aren't out, unless you have an outright star and you want to recruit some guys to your program, you have to tell them, you don't come here to sit the bench. You come here, I'm going to give you a chance to play, and I'm going to work it out. So when you got transfer quarterbacks, I think they know that going into the room, and they want to see who can prove it. So not surprising. It used to be surprising 1 or 2, maybe 3 years ago, but we see that all over the country. All over the country. Who's a starter? It's close. We don't know who's going to get there. We got a gut feeling. But in practice, you judge it by who gets the snaps with the ones, and they're sharing times with the ones. I mean, they're sharing that every other day to see who the hot hand is. So doesn't surprise me at all. And I think, if you have to deal with this a season from now, where neither one of those guys established that they're the go-to guy, then you have to start looking for what's going on.
All right. Good stuff. You're always good for your give me five, or what was it? Jay's 5 takes, right? What's your
Jay's
5?
Give me 5. Jay's give me 5.
Jay's give me 5. So Jay, I don't want to steal anything from what's going to happen in your broadcast with your give me 5s, but just give me on a broad scale. Give me 5 things that you were kind of shocked about that occurred this offseason in HBCU football. How about that?
Well, the coaching turnover. I think talk about what happened to Fred McNair down at Alcorn State. Had a job there in your town, and then it didn't work out there. And I think that's kind of a really disservice to what he's represented for HBCU football. I think the transfer from Body going over to Alabama State, huge news. That's probably the biggest headline there. I mean,
it's a big coup. I call it. It was a coup.
yeah. I mean, he was an all-conference type performer. Then he goes over to Alabama State, and all of a sudden they become the team to beat. So I think that was a big one. And then replacing the star power of if you think about it, you had 3 guys that were like mainstays in their program. Quinn Williams from Howard University was a 4-year starter, almost a 5-year starter. Pee Wee Richard at North Carolina Central, who was the player of the year consecutive years in a row. Jeremy Musa out of Florida A&M. And these are some really good programs with high expectations, and you got to replace a lot of snaps. There's a lot of experience that has to be replaced there. Who's going to emerge from doing that?
Wow. Good takes there. All right. So what time do you guys kick off on Saturday?
Wow. You put me on the hot spot now. See, give me some time. I got a couple of days to work for, but it'll be a primetime game. We're doing 7 o'clock. We're excited about it because it's an opportunity to showcase that. We're on ABC, and it's the first game in a series called Saturday Night Football on ABC. So It'll be throughout the season, and the HBCUs are kicking it off, and we've got a great production staff here. Everybody in Atlanta here is getting hyped up for the game here. It's a tremendous opportunity, one that I did not get, and I always try to remind these kids, like, you have to step up to the moment. You're playing on ABC. Nobody got no excuse not to see it. You can go old school with a TV and put a hanger up in there, and you can get it. You don't need that cable for this. So everybody's going to watch it, and it'll be a good one.
It should be a good one, and you, as well as Tiffany, will have a great call on the game. Jay, thank you so much for joining us, man.
No problem. I always appreciate it, man. See you during the season.
Thank you. That's Mr. Jay Walker, Skywalker. Thank you, sir. Take care. But